Greetings and salutations, friends and gamers of all stripes. My name is GM Dave, and I am your man behind the screen, and I would like to welcome you to RPG A Day 2021, Day 3, because I always forget that the RPG A Day thing is in August, so I missed the start this last Sunday. But it's fine. We can still play catch-up with the first two prompts and participate in it in full this month by, hopefully making time to record everything in advance so that I can just schedule the uploads instead of, trying to upload one of these a day when I am working way more than I reasonably should. Anyway, enough preamble. The goal this year is to keep these nice, short, and sweet by touching on at least one or two simple portions of these topics that might hopefully get us to think a little bit deeper about ways we can approach these individual things, not just for the way I approach them, but the way you might as well. So without any further ado, let's get started with Day 1, Scenario. Scenario is interesting in that this is something that everybody interacts with when it comes to the tabletop RPG hobby. Be you player or game master. It doesn't matter which side of the screen you're sitting on, you are engaging with and creating scenarios when you engage with the game. Now, some people might question why I would say that. After all, it's pretty common knowledge that game masters create the scenarios that players engage with by creating role-playing encounters and the challenges they have to overcome and the world that they engage with. We are creating the scenarios that they play in, which then develop the whole of the game that they are playing. This is well known. This is a very core portion to what being a game master is. When you are creating challenges for your players to overcome, you are creating scenarios in which they engage. But this isn't a one-way street, because just as the players are forced to react to the scenarios that we put before them in whatever way they may choose, be that engaging with it directly, be that finding ways to skirt around it, or be that choosing not to engage with it at all, that then creates a scenario in kind that we as the game masters have to prepare to respond to. Players, as we well know, are always going to find a way to surprise us. Even the players that we know the best, people that we've played with for years. For example, my good friend Luke, who I've mentioned many times on this channel, and I doubtless will mention many more times. I know the kinds of characters he likes to play. I know the kinds of games he likes to play. I know the types of things he tends to bring towards the table. I know his habits as a player very well, and yet he still continues to find ways to surprise me. No matter what sort of scenario I present, my players, your players, all players can find ways to surprise their GMs. With the way that the players interact with what we put in the game in front of them, no matter how that may be, even if it comes down to, as mentioned, not interacting with it at all and choosing to interact with something completely different, they are creating a new scenario that we have to then respond to. Now, sometimes those scenarios are ones that we expect. Sometimes things go exactly the way that we planned. Sometimes we're able to predict what our players want to do right down to the letter. But that's a very rare occurrence. More often than not, somebody is going to find some way to surprise us. Somebody is going to find something that we didn't think of and kind of turn the scenario that we had planned on its head. Now, there's some out there who can think of 1,000 different contingencies for these scenarios and for these shifts in the challenges to make new scenarios and build until the encounter or the adventure are complete. But more often than not, it's not going to happen like this. Generally speaking, the GMs are going to present the players with something, and then the players, through their reactions, will present something back. And in that sense, in how we then have to respond to what our players are doing, our players are engaging with the game and creating scenarios that are very much their own. And those are my thoughts on Day 1 of RPG A Day 2021 Scenario. And now I turn it over to you, friends and gamers. Let me know what your thoughts on scenarios are in the comments down below, or maybe tell me about some interesting scenarios that you encounter during your time in this hobby. Things that your players or your GMs even might have done that have caught you off guard and surprised you. While you're down there, if you liked this video, please feel free to leave a like, subscribe if you'd like to see more, and make sure to open up that description box down below to follow me on my social media presences, in particular Minds.com, where I back up the plurality of my videos. I would also greatly appreciate it if you follow the Webtoons link in the description to read Phoenix Rising, my fantasy adventure webcomic series that I work on with my good friend Hair Illustrations. We just passed 3 years of publishing Phoenix Rising, and I would love to see the comic grow even more. So if the thought of a classic fantasy adventure with a touch of intrigue and comedy and a good amount of heart appeals to you, please take a read to Phoenix Rising, because I am quite certain you are going to find something to enjoy there. And with that now said and done, friends and gamers of all stripes, once again, my name is GM Dave. I am your man behind the screen. And as always, remember, in the world of tabletop gaming, you do not want to just sit back and watch, but get in there and game. Have a good one.